Okay, let's play with this 360 for a minute. Outside, I ran a wire. Well, come on out. I don't know how good this thing is as I walk around, but well, you may or may not see it. But up there is a wire going across, and it goes all the way up into the top of those trees and over and down. Now, when it gets up to the tree, the wire stops, and just like the paracord goes down, so the wire's really not touching anything, but you can see it up in the tree. Now that wire is just regular green electrical wire that they would use if there were a wire in your house that you can buy at Home Depot. Now what I'm thinking is, because that wire is okay, but it's not the best in the world, I have that wire, which I bought at Tractor Supply last year maybe, and that is a very heavy wire with a black casing. That wire is as heavy as this, I'm going to say. I don't have any that I can show you other than the pieces up there that are going like that. That's the same wire. Much, much heavier. So I'm thinking about running that wire up there and taking that one down. Now I don't know how this camera works for me walking around, because I don't know, you know, it's not directional, so it may get a little confusing. But that's what I'm thinking about doing. However, because see, it's easier to do that now than it would be if that wire breaks. Am I recording? Yeah. Because if that wire breaks, it's a nightmare to get it up. Because then I have to take the bow, all right, which I think I only have one arrow left, because when I send them up, sometimes they'll break the cordage before, you know, it gets, and the arrow just continues to go where, who knows, and you lose arrows. The cordage that I use is basically like a nylon thread. I should get a roll of fishing line, because that'll probably be a little bit heavier and not break as easy. But that's kind of like what I use. So even though it's work that I'm creating for myself, it's going to be less work when I'm in control of creating it, other than weather creating it and me have to go out there in the middle of the winter to try to figure out how the hell I'm going to do it. You kind of know what I'm talking about? So, so that's that. This is this. I put it upright because I'm going to be done dealing with it until I get it the way I want, which will be tomorrow. So I'm going to just leave all this be. I'll put that there. Put this out here. I may, just may, strong possibility may, go back to the West system, even though it's a little bit more money. It hardens for you much faster to where it'll start to seal before it leaks out. But we're going to see. We're going to see. We're going to give it a chance and see what happens. We'll play with it and take it one step at a time. That's all we can do. Right? Right. Alright, I gotta go out and take the piece off the front of the house, bring it in here, modify it so it can stay out on the front of the house without it blowing off. And then once I see how the stripper works, yeah, let me take you with me. Once I see how the stripper works, I've got a little job that I got to do out there with some stripper. We'll put you right here for now. That should be okay. Well, it seems like it might be okay. It did say a half hour to 24 hours, and if it's going to sit more than a half an hour or so, or overnight, to cover it with plastic. Well, I never really had to cover something overnight, with the old stuff. So if I had to do that, I wouldn't use this stuff anymore. An hour or two, I should be able to get off anything that I need to get off anyway. So we had a reevaluation and prioritizing the call and reevaluating the call that you're on so that you have an idea what to do if you're needed in another location. So how would I evaluate where I'm at so that I can go check the other call to see which one needs what and which one is going to need a live person at. And roughly the length of time the person will be there. Now see, that part is kind of tough because that depends on the problem. For instance, if it's a power line that's down across the road and you got to shut the road down, well, the Eversource is going to get out there a lot faster than if it was a power line that was going down alongside the road. Now, if it's alongside the road, they're still going to need somebody there, so nobody decides to walk over it. But it's not quite as important as the one that's down and across the road, because now you got that road shut down. And although the government may not give two shits about us as people, as a rule, the town, DEP, or the state in itself, does consider the people and don't want to inconvenience you for too long when it comes to traffic on the road. They want to keep it moving as much as they can and free up the accident or whatever it is. So that on the road, crossing the road, blocking the road, shutting the road down is going to get repaired first as a priority up and above the wire that's down alongside the road. So if there's only one person that's available, and you got these two incidences, these two calls that you have to deal with, you got to kind of think about it, because closing down the road, well, you know what? If there's enough police, because you have to look at that too, what's their schedule? Are they going nuts? Are they busy? Possibility. I mean, if it's a storm that blew through everybody's putting in their time. So you really can't depend on the police being there. Otherwise, you can say, well, the police will take care of shutting down the road. I'm going to stay with the line that's down to stop anybody from walking over it or to it, or a kid that goes over there and touches it, or a curious male that, or a person rather, that, oh, let me go see if it's a hot line, and they touch it. Because, believe it or not, that happens. So, the police, again, if they're not really busy, they can shut down the road, and you can go stay next to that line that's down. Now, if they're busy, and everybody's going nuts, well then, it's a toughie. So you mark the line that's down across, alongside of the road with cones and tape and caution signs, and hopefully people would identify with this and understand to stay away. However, you still have to worry about kids, because sometimes adults, we don't teach our kids things like that. You know, if you see a wire down, don't touch it. You know, if you see cones and tape or a barrier, don't cross it. You know, we don't teach our kids that for some reason. You know, if you see a gun, don't touch it. Whoa, okay. Well, you know what? That hot wire is just as deadly as that gun. So anyway, you mark the line that's going with the road, alongside the road, to identify it as much as you possibly can as being a danger. And then you go and you take care of the road closed, because that is not going to be closed for long. Then the police department, while they're out and about doing what they're doing, can swing by that other one every now and then, as well as public works and everything else, just to make sure everything is okay, you know, while they're out riding around. Because they ride around because they want to make sure if there's something that's down, they want to be able to see it and get somebody out there. So, and then you can always go back to that scene where the wire is going with the road, alongside the road, and take care of it after the other road opens up. Because again, that's not going to be long. When they close the road down, it's not usually long, unless it's an accident and somebody dies. Then they have to bring out the crime scene, the crime lab, and they have to start marking and pictures and looking for evidence and, you know, pieces of car and, you know, how it was struck from what side, and, you know, does that dent show that it was struck from that side? Who cut in front of who? You know, the piece of fiberglass that fell off the car, you know, when it broke, which way did it bend? You know, so which way did it get hit, basically? So these are things that you gotta look for. And then it could take a couple hours. You know, like when we had that hit and run, a 51-year-old woman was riding a bike to the gym in the morning, and a pickup truck hits her, hit and run, keeps going, puts her in the hospital, broken neck, broken shoulder, broken pelvis. He takes off, and because she was in such bad shape, they weren't sure if she was going to make it or not. So they had to treat it as such, because if she made it to the hospital and died later, they have to have as much as they can possibly have on that scene. So they treated it as such. if it was an actual crime scene, because it would be treated differently. Well, we will see how this cleared up now that I scraped the crap out of it. There's a few little pieces of paint here inside the channel, but I can get that with another brush. I can't get it with this one. This one's too big. Let me get the other brush. And then get a bucket of water. A bucket of water, you say? So anyway, that's what the drill was about today. It was more of a discussion drill than anything else. Do we have to get so many drills in a year to prove that we're training? They're training drills. You know, and some of them are tough. You know, some of them it's an all day or all weekend drill. So when you can get away with a 1 hour rack session drill, it helps. Makes life easy.